All right, today we are pulling back the curtain on the mental tools that the world's sharpest thinkers use to make absolutely incredible decisions. Let's dive right in.
Think about it for a second. You and, say, a brilliant CEO could be looking at the exact same problem with the very same data, but somehow they see a path forward that's, well, it's just invisible to everyone else. How on earth is that even possible?
And here's the secret, right here. It's not that they have a bigger brain or that they've crammed more facts into their head. No, not at all. It's about having a better system for processing the information you already have. And this system, it's a toolkit of what we call mental models.
So what exactly are these game-changing tools? Let's break this down, because it's a really foundational concept.
Okay, so a mental model is basically a framework that helps you understand things. It's a simplified version of reality that lets you make sense of all the complexity out there without getting totally bogged down by every single little detail. I love this way of thinking about it. It's like a Swiss Army knife, but for your thoughts. You've got a whole bunch of specific tools ready for any kind of problem you face. I mean, you wouldn't try to open a bottle of wine with a screwdriver, right? The same thing applies to your thinking. Different challenges need different mental tools. And when you really start building this toolkit, the benefits are just immense. You begin to cut through all the noise and get to the real heart of an issue. You start seeing these invisible forces that shape events, which, you guessed it, helps you find opportunities that nobody else has even noticed. And all of this leads to clearer, way more effective decisions in every single part of your life.
Theory is great, but let's make this super practical. We're going to look at 3 of the most powerful mental models you can start using like today.
First one up is a total classic. You've probably heard of it by its famous numbers. Yep, the 80-20 rule. Now, its official name is the Pareto Principle, and this simple little ratio holds a really profound truth about where you should be focusing your energy for maximum impact. So the Pareto Principle basically says that for a lot of things in life, roughly 80% of the results come from just 20% of the causes. In business, it could be that 20% of your customers are bringing in 80% of your revenue. In your own life, maybe 20% of your daily habits create 80% of your happiness. The real superpower is learning to spot that critical 20% and just doubling down on it. Okay, our next model is all about thinking ahead, but not just one step ahead. We're talking about playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. See, most people, they stop at that first-order consequence. They think, if I do X, then Y will happen, and that's it. But brilliant thinkers always ask, and then what? They trace the whole chain reaction. A quick, easy decision right now could have totally disastrous consequences later on. Second-order thinking forces you to see those ripple effects, so you avoid long-term pain for a little short-term gain.
And finally, let's look at a mental model that helps you avoid a very, very common and pretty dangerous thinking trap.
Oh man, we love success stories, don't we? We study the famous college dropouts who became billionaires and think, hey, that's a viable path. The problem is, we're only looking at the survivors. We don't see the thousands, tens of thousands of other dropouts who didn't make it. That's survivorship bias. It tricks us into thinking a really risky strategy is safe, all because we're ignoring this massive, silent graveyard of failures.
So, when you start putting these models together, using the 80-20 rule to find your focus, applying second-order thinking to that focus, and then checking it all against survivorship bias, something really big starts to happen.
This is way more than just a collection of clever tricks. Adopting these models fundamentally changes how you see the world. You go from just reacting to things to actually understanding the systems that are driving them. It's like upgrading your brain's entire operating system. So, at the end of the day, the goal isn't to just collect more and more information. It's to build a versatile toolkit for thinking. With these models, you can tackle any challenge from a bunch of different angles. And that's what leads to smarter choices and better outcomes, whether you're in a boardroom or just, planning out your week. And that really brings us to the most important question. How are you going to apply this? Think about a problem you're facing right now. Seriously, could the 80-20 rule help you focus? Could second-order thinking show you a hidden risk or maybe a huge opportunity? The power isn't in just knowing the models, it's in using them.